Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're taking a trip way back, over 4,000 years back actually, to uncover a profoundly dramatic mythological origin story. It's a text that tries to answer one of humanity's oldest, most stubborn questions. Why are we all so divided? We're looking at an ancient Sumerian text that lays out this incredible narrative of early human history. It's all about a forgotten golden age, a sudden deliberate fracture, and literally the very origin of human division. It's a totally fascinating journey, so let's jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this. Just listen to the absolute power of these words. On that day, when there is no snake, when there is no scorpion, when there is no hyena, when there is no lion, when there is neither dog nor wolf, when there is thus neither fear nor trembling, man has no rival. I mean, wow! Imagine a primordial world completely devoid of danger. The Sumerians envisioned a time when the things that go bump in the night, the predators that literally threaten our physical survival, simply didn't exist yet. It is a stunning depiction of absolute, pristine tranquility.
Section 1. The Spell of Nudimmud.
So the crucial point is that this ancient poem isn't just an entertaining campfire story. It is what we call an ideological myth. You see, ancient cultures didn't have modern sociology or linguistics to explain why the world was so messy. So they used stories to decode their reality. The Sumerians looked around, saw a fractured human society plagued by language barriers and endless, bloody conflicts, and thought, how did we get here? This incantation is their attempt to explain exactly why we don't all get along, detailing this massive transition from a primordial era of universal peace into a world totally defined by discord.
And the central figure in this myth is Nudimmud. That name actually translates to the begetter of mankind, but you probably know him better by his more common name, Enki. Enki was the Sumerian creator god, the water god, the lord of abundance, and crucially for our story, the god of wisdom. He's the guy who organizes the earth and its cultural processes. He's resourceful, he's skillful, and he's deeply wise. But as we'll see, he plays the pivotal role in this epic, mythic disruption.
Now here's where it gets really fascinating. Exactly where we find this spell. It was written down during the early dynastic period, so sometime between 2900 and 2350 BCE, tucked inside a much larger epic about Emrakar. Emrakar was this mighty Sumerian priest-king of Uruk who really wanted to subjugate a rival city called Arata. So, to force their submission and demand all their gold and lapis lazuli, he sends a herald across the mountains. And Emrakar instructs his herald to recite this exact incantation to the Lord of Arata. He's literally weaponizing this ancient myth as a threat, reminding his rival of a time before division, smack in the middle of a tense political standoff.
Section 2. A World Without Fear. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the Sumerians conceptualized peace here. They didn't describe what was present, they emphatically described what wasn't. They're listing out the absolute most terrifying predators of their landscape. No snake, no scorpion, no hyena, no lion, no dog, no wolf. By explicitly stating these threats were just completely gone, they paint this vivid, negative space that defines a world entirely devoid of physical danger.
And the text immediately connects this lack of natural predators to a lack of human conflict. Because there was neither fear nor trembling, man had no rival. It's actually a brilliant psychological insight when you think about it. Without external threats to resources or safety, humanity had zero reason to turn on itself. Turns out, when you aren't constantly running from wolves, you have a lot less to argue about. They were living in a perfect, harmonious, utopian state.
Section 3. One Voice to Enlil. The incantation specifically names the lands that existed in this era of perfect unity. We're talking about Shubor and Hamazi, which represent regions in western Iran, Sumer itself, described as the great mountain of magnificence, Akkad, the land possessing all that is befitting, and the Martu land, out in the western deserts, and Arabia, resting in total security. This paints a picture of a vast, expansive geographical region spanning the known ancient world, and all of it completely unified.
And what was the binding force of this vast universe of well-guarded people? It was language. The text tells us that the entire universe addressed the chief god and Lil together in a single unified language. Imagine the rhythmic, harmonious nature of that world. Every single person, from the mountains of Iran to the plains of Akkad, speaking with one tongue, sharing one mind, honoring the heavens in perfect collective unity. It really is a beautiful image of human potential.
Section 4. Enki's Divine Intervention. So we know Enki, the god of wisdom, is the one who eventually breaks this unity. But I want you to ask yourself,
Why? Why on earth would a god renowned for his profound wisdom and his role in organizing civilization intentionally fracture humanity and destroy a perfect peace? Let's take a look.
Well, the answer lies right there in the text. Enki acts in response to a sudden dark shift in human nature. The incantation repeats this phrase emphatically, for the ambitious lords, for the ambitious princes, for the ambitious kings. Enki wasn't just being a villain here, he was responding to the sudden emergence of human political ambition, contention, and the lust for dominion. Humanity had started to change. The seeds of rivalry were sprouting, not from nature, but from human leadership itself.
Section 5. The Cleaving of Tongues.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what Enki did. His intervention shattered that perfect era of universal language and collective worship. To thwart those ambitious kings, he purposefully broke their ability to communicate, replacing that dangerous, powerful unity with linguistic diversity, social contention, and endless political rivalry.
The pacing of the myth really quickens here, as Enki, the lord of Eridu, and steadfast decisions, deliberately shatters the single human voice. The text says he changed the speech in their mouths, as many as he had placed there. In an instant, that unified chant to Enlil becomes a chaotic cacophony of different dialects. Suddenly, neighbors can no longer understand neighbors. Those ambitious kings, they can no longer command vast, unified armies. Endless social conflict is born, serving as this divine check on human arrogance.
Section 6. Seeking the Ancient Sounds. Let's move to and see how this builds, because if Enki scattered our languages to curb our worst ambitions, it means that buried deep beneath our modern conflicts, there is still a shared root. This myth actually encourages us to trace our way back through the winding DNA of language to find those common origins.
I want to leave you with this incredibly evocative, poetic interpretation of the myth's core lesson. Grip the root word, hold the old sound fast now. Find the thread that binds each clod of this earth. It challenges us, doesn't it? If our division was born of ambition and conflict, perhaps the real cure is to seek out the ancient threads that might still bind our divided world together today. Underneath the hundreds of languages we speak right now, what is that single human voice we've forgotten how to use? It's a powerful question to chew on as you go about your day. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.